Welcome all. We are the SC2CTL live finals pre-show. We're going to be giving you a wrap-up of the season thus far. We got a nice half hour of some content for you, and then we're going to be jumping into our first live games at noon Eastern time. I don't know what time it is where you're at, but it's 11:30 here.
That's right. So hopefully it's a convenient time for you to be up for the next couple of hours, as we're going to have lots of StarCraft action.
Couple of hours? Delegation, what are you talking about?
Well, I mean, they might just want to see the semis and miss the finals.
Yeah.
We've got many hours.
That does make sense. You would want to miss the finals.
Right, yeah. I mean, come on. Who watches the finals?
Come on.
Only the cool kids, right? So if you are new to StarCraft 2 Community Team League, this is a community team league based around the community. Hey, go figure. It's in the name. We are sponsored by Das Keyboard, and Das Keyboard has been generous enough to offer up 5 keyboards to the winner of the tournament, which will be decided after the World Finals sometime in the near future.
Yeah, well, once we do this will be the North American semis and finals. We have this fancy, nice event. I mean, Delegation, I'm sitting next to you.
I know.
We've been casting this league for 9-10 weeks, and we've been just boxes above each other.
But now we can punch each other if we like, or, all sorts of things that happen when people are in the room together.
Absolutely.
Any one of those things could happen. But getting back to Das Keyboard, we do have lots of cool things from them. They're giving away the keyboards, and today also we're going to be having giveaways of 2 T-shirts and 2 tumblers that you can win by following the contest rules that will be posted in chat throughout the day. And so check that out. Most of it's going to be through Twitter. And so yeah, if you guys are unfamiliar with Das Keyboard, we have the pleasure today of showing you what a brand new one looks like.
What?
Yeah. So I recently acquired a Das keyboard, and let me show you what this is. This is, oops, that's what happens.
That's my head.
That's what happens when we're in the same room together. This is the Das Professional Model S brown switch, and I have not opened this, so this is like brand new. So
how would you have it and not open it? That takes a lot of fortitude.
It took a great amount of fortitude. So let's go ahead and get into this. All right.
Would you like me to?
Yeah. So it's got one of these little pull tabs down here, and that opens on up. And when you open it, right away you're going to see this your little swipey pad for when it gets dirty.
And it does get dirty.
Yes, because it's shiny. And look at this. Oh man. All right. So we're going to have to pull this guy out. That's just going to come apart like that, isn't it?
Yep, it sure is.
All right.
Here, I'll hold the
This
is a 2-person job.
It is when we're trying to do it in midair.
It's so well boxed.
All right.
It takes an army to get it out.
We got our little information card here talking about the installation and the support and all that stuff. Apparently you can win stuff too. All right. So they package it in this neat little styrofoam film type thing to try and keep it all protected. Up we go. Ooh, look at that. Comes with the plastic covering as well to keep it all nice. So we're going to pull that guy off. Woo, look at that. Man, isn't that pretty? Dang.
I can see myself in it.
I know, you can. And now listen to this. Oh my gosh.
I can hear it.
Oh my gosh. How cool is that? Man, oh man. So that is neat. So that is what you can look forward to having happen when you open your first Das keyboard, when you purchase them from either daskeyboard.com or another distributor of Das keyboards.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a moment and just hook this guy up so that we can continue to hear that throughout the remainder of the broadcast.
All right, and while you're doing that, I just want to give everyone a little overview of the tournament so far. Let's see, as I get my informations in front of me. So far, so the SC2CTL has been going on for about 10 weeks now, and we've been casting it all along the way. It started out with 26 teams. These are all, teams from, is the 26 just in is that the whole league?
That's it. Yeah, that's everything.
Yeah, and the organization of the league is there was several different divisions: a bronze, silver, gold division, a platinum, diamond division.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's only the Grandmasters.
Okay.
Sorry.
And nonetheless, there still were different divisions.
Yes.
So the bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and master, grandmaster. We've been casting Pretty universally the Master Grandmaster, but there have still been some quality content for the lower leagues. But so there were 26 teams in the Master Grandmaster division, but several other teams, and some of those teams had players that participated in multiple divisions also. But going through these, we had 2 pool stages where the teams competed, and then second pool stage was seeded based on the results of the first pool stage. So we got to see some of the best teams going against each other in the beginning of the second pool stage. Each pool stage had 3 weeks, so 6 weeks total of pool play. And then based on the results in the group stages, we went into a bracket, not a bracket, but well, I can't show you that because it's spoiler ridden. So, oh no, it's not. We have no spoilers.
Well, there are no spoilers. We can show the website.
Whoa! Hold on, let me pull up the website here so we can look at the beautiful whiteboard drawings. Let's see here, so I can show you all the things.
That's right.
Let's see. Boom. Oh, that's not going to show it. Well, here's what we're going to have to do. I'm going to just add it right in here so we can see this here stuff. Bam, and there it is. So this is the finals bracket for the Master Grandmaster division. I don't mean to cover up DOS keyboard, but it will be for a moment, I promise.
Just a quick.
So starting out in the first round, how it worked is the teams that placed the best in the pool stages got basically 2 buys.
Yeah.
So YMCMB, Gear in the Rear, Team Gravity, and Team Complexity Academy got placed into the second round of the brackets of the playoffs. And in the middle round, where at the top were the I can't remember what he called it, but the better teams, top of the round of 12 we called it, and bottom, and in the middle, the middle teams were the better teams, the top teams were the slightly less ranked than the middle teams, and in the very first round were the teams that were the lowest that qualified for the playoffs. So we had an initial round here that decided the round of 12, and we saw some really, really awesome play in the round of 12. A lot of really good teams. All these teams we casted throughout the group stages and moved on. And then in the finals, the teams aren't in here, but basically what it is it's NRG beat FLC to move into the topmost bracket facing YMCMB. I believe that'll be our first match today. And then .SCA beat Eternal Dreamers to move into the second round of 8 to face Gear in the Rear.
Mm-hmm.
Pulse actually Pulse beat StarCraft Strategy barely. I believe that was a 9-game series.
Yeah, that was a close one.
Very close to face Team Gravity in the round of 8. And then Overdose Gaming beat StarCraft Ascension B, which is the B team for SCA right here. Mm-hmm. Both very good, and that was another really close one. That went to 9 games as well. So Overdose Gaming faced Team Complexity. So then a summary of the round of 8. YMCMB faced NRG. YMCMB won that pretty handily, I believe.
Yep.
YMCMB, a very strong team. It actually seems like they're a team, but they're a roster of people who just enjoy playing StarCraft together also.
Yep.
So that's really cool.
Yep,
but a lot of skilled players on there.
There really are.
Gear in the Rear versus SCA. SCA beat Gear in the Rear. We casted all of these games last week, so all the VODs are available on youtube.com/wingnutstarcraft if you want to check them out. Really good games. Pulse versus Gravity. Pulse, actually, there was an issue, and Pulse was not able to show up to their match on time, so Team Gravity walked over Pulse, so basically they got a bye there into the semifinals. So that was unfortunate, but that's the situation there. And then Overdose versus Complexity Academy. Holy cow, Galatian, that was another insane match that we saw.
Yes, it was.
It went to 9 games, and let me tell you, it was, I believe it was over 2 hours of gameplay in real time, not StarCraft time. Yep. So that was a pretty insane match, and it was a matter of really just luck who won that one, because one decision, one way or the other, could have changed the outcome of that. But nevertheless, Team Complexity Academy did move on in that. So today we're going to have YMCMB versus Gear in the Rear. Sorry. YMCMB versus StarCraft Ascension in the brackets.
That's correct. Yep.
And then Team Gravity versus Team Complexity Academy. So it's going to be pretty awesome. YMCMB versus SCA is going to be our first match today, starting at noon, and Gravity versus Complexity is going to be the second, and then the winner of those will be in the finals.
That's right. So we have whittled away the 26 teams down to 14, the 14 teams down to 4, and after the semifinals, we will have whittled the 4 teams down to 2, and finally, the 2 teams down to 1, which will be the North American SC2CTL champion for season 1.
Yep. So if I'm remembering correctly here, get this out of my way. So I think we've got a recap video of the round of 8 and going into the semifinals that will give you some of the cool highlights that we saw. So with that, we would like to show you that. So do take a few minutes and enjoy this video. Yeah. Huh? Oh, really? Oh, you gotta plug in on the USB thing. One it shows keyboard, one shows USB host. So make sure you plug in the one with the picture of the keyboard.
Oh, I was thrown off by this.
Oh yeah, that's only if you're using.
He hallucinates. Storm on oh my goodness, look at the storms. He hallucinates a couple voiders in there to try and scare Rising Storm away, but Rising Storm.
And you shouldn't have to reboot.
Yeah, I was confused. I was like, why isn't this working? That's cool. Should have worked. Thanks. Sorry, I was getting in this couldn't figure it out.
Second Nidus Worm going down to provide a way out. Nice transfuses from those queens.
This is gone. I'll take this.
How long do we have for that? 10 minutes?
Again, more
Yeah, it's like
transfuses. 2 transfuses on that one to save that. Nidus Worm pops. Is he going to be able to get out? It doesn't look like it. He's doing a great job of holding this out. Really impressed.
Positions observers in really brilliant spots. Really knowing the range of the score hit and where you can position them to still get vision but not take damage. And that all gets cleaned up. They do cloak. They're going to try and get some EMPs down. Or no, he's actually just sniping the High Templar, it looks like.
Yeah, and some nice EMPs on there as well. But 3-3 just finished for Kaio, so Gamasecom giving Kaio the time he needs. Awesome storms go down. Mazel's charge in there. Orange and yellow there.
But those Vikings are getting their money's worth as they do take out the remainder of the Colossus. Another good storm does take out some ghosts. And Gamasecom is smartly moving his units around, spreading them out to try and defend, but this is just too much composition.
All these ghosts get in a great EMP. All the Archons.
Yeah, but they did not cloak, and so many of them fall. There's only 2 remaining left in this army. Holy!
Really strong against this push. The sentries don't do a ton of damage to Mutalisk, and he's just going to bring in everything from all different angles.
Sure
Nice
enough.
surround.
Oh, but great force fields, though, able to zone out a lot of those Zerglings to keep his units safe, but there's so many roaches, and Mutalisk is doing tons. Of damage here, and Rarswing is in deep trouble now. And there's the GG as Death End's army was somewhat out of position, but the Zealots are moving forward, storming right into the storm that he puts down. Ghosts are cloaked and doing some decent EMP damage. Oh, huge EMP on all the High Templar. They are doing nothing now, immediately trying to work into, or turn into Archons.
But look at those Colossus Caligation. Those 3 Colossus are untouched, and they're doing huge amounts of damage to this bio force.
There's just not enough Vikings there to do much, and D-Nice is just stim microing his way into the units.
Nice feedback there.
Feedbacks, yeah.
I think the entire army was in range of that storm. That was an amazing storm. Another time, everything is all clumped up.
Loading up, but everything's dying. Yeah, being able to see those when they're invisible is definitely useful, but now this engagement is going down. The Colossus doing so much damage to these ground forces. The EMP is don't look like they're as effective this time, and the Vikings trying to do what they can, but storms galore, and the ground army of D-Nice is being wrapped up. There is the really trying to push to get this other base as he needs the income, but this army is such huge supply, and Gitarchi's kind of 1A his way in here. He's definitely getting bundles down. Oh, there goes the Neural Parasite, but the Tempest does die. Oh, he went for the Archon. He's got the Archon now. But wow, Gitarchi's taking heavy losses here. Oh, huge neuroparasites on all those Archons.
Oh, Archons are such big units of GG.
We have a big engagement about to come up, and Lightning is moving forward. These Marines are trying to get away, but the tanks aren't even sieged. He's not even going to bother doing it. And he does get those EMPs off, which are doing huge damage to this army. The rest of the army is going to be able to move in unhindered.
Oh, and the supply depot even down. Oh, the Banner's able to just freely roll into the base and get all the SCVs that are naturally going to die. 48 lings in production, so this is going to max out Guitar Cheese. He's going to have a ton of lings. Producing a ton of... Oh, but great scan by Demo. He knows exactly what's coming.
He did have 3 Marines stem up there, and they did get taken out by that, so he wants to engage this smartly on his terms. And sure enough, those Marines are spreading and baiting right back into those mines. And the mine hits go off. Oh my gosh, so many Banelings go down, but so do the Marines. And again, Guitar Cheese comes out on top of that engagement.
Still a 200 army to 127. And there's so many Zerglings and Banelings, they don't even need the mutas right now.
Nope, they're just kind of doing their own thing, and sure enough, moving in, trying to take out the towers so that the Mutalisks can kind of do whatever.
And there are 2 mines here at the front too, so it matters if they can get those shots off. But the Banelings coming in.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the mine hits the
barracks.
roaches.
Banelings take out the barracks and all of the SCVs that came down to try and repair it, so now the roaches and Banelings are moving in unhindered. More Baneling shots go down, barracks are falling. Roaches are just doing their thing, and Weinstyle's going to have a hard time dealing with this, forced to raise up in the back part of his base in the main, and he's going to have to try and defend from there now.
Those mines are just about... Not going to finish before he moves in here. He's going to force field around the bunker to keep everything back. Oh, that bunker is going to go down very quickly as he targets it with the Immortals.
And he pulls the SCVs trying to get the repair off, but they just cannot get there because of the force fields. And everything is getting chewed apart at the front, making sure the SCVs are at the front so his attacking army is able to survive long enough to do any damage. And this ground force is just doing huge damage at the moment. Stranded forced to lift up his expand, forced to go up to the top of the ramp, and Ire is really just playing very commandingly at the moment.
Stalkers, if we can get up here for this second bunker finish. Oh, nice time warp there. That's a great time warp.
That does make it difficult for those Marines to engage here. And that bunker's going to use those as a buffer to try and get some damage done. 2 Stalkers... Oh, only a few Stalkers fall here.
Yeah, if you look at you here too.
But they're not really engaging in the battle, so they can't really drum up too much scaring. They're all the way back there.
Great time warps by both
Yeah.
players. Neither army can move very freely through the battlefield as those Colossus are trying to do a lot of damage here to the sentries and zealots.
Archons are able to soak up some of that damage, but with the Colossus, they don't target just a single guy, they target it indiscriminately, so a lot of great force fields to negate the micro of that Immortal, and geez, Ire's army is just going so deep.
It's a big question, is it?
Oh, there it is. Oh, no.
Oh, he does drop the... Oh, great drops.
Oh, my goodness. Wonderful drops. And immediately burrows that mine.
Oh, great mine hit. And even again, more force fields go down, trap more roaches, but they do get a bit of a surround here. Is he going to have enough force fields to hold them out? Looks like he is.
And he's not... Guitar Cheese just can't get the surrounds that he needs. So many of his roaches aren't even involved in this fight, while the Immortals are just tearing apart the ones that are.
Yeah, Guitar Cheese now going to take a break from replenishing with the roaches as he's going to get cleaned up here and make 22 Zerglings.
And Guitar Cheese GG's.
Six Banelings headed into Baldwin's base. He's trying to split them up to get a little bit of splash around. 3 heading in, 1 trailing
Oh
behind
my
with 2
goodness,
behind that.
this is
Getting
gonna
a
be brutal.
nice surround on the drones, and the drones are going to take a huge hit.
And another huge hit. Baldwin's kind of split up a little bit, but he just doesn't have it going for him. And those queens get surrounded. 1 falls, the second one falls. Zerglings are getting cleaned up. Drones are getting cleaned up. There's not a lot Baldwin can do. Oh, but they're out of position. He blinks forward and starts doing major damage as 1 falls. He doesn't get any. Oh, there's a gank, and 1 Colossus falls. And the second one, oh, yep, that one goes too. 3rd falls. fourth falls, more ganks. Oh my goodness, so much damage. And he recalls out having lost 5, almost 6. Stalkers get left behind and they are getting cleaned up. Or the Stalkers move up to try and do some damage. Blink back defensively. And the Vikings are moving in, doing huge damage to those Colossus. The Ghosts get a huge EMP down. So much damage.
Huge EMP and everything's going down.
And this is not looking good for Semper right now. He's taking huge, I'm sorry, it wasn't looking good for Happy right there, but Semper decided to walk away and giving time Happy to regroup.
This is going to be a bit of trouble for Dredsky.
And he's going straight for that queen. It looks like, oh, he's going to pull off and start hitting the drones instead. One goes down, second goes down.
Man, that's rough for Dredsky. He's
going to come down.
Have free reign here.
Drone kills. And he's not pulling him. He realizes that there's
probably a huge number of Hellions at 11.
Roach is heading towards the front. They are going to be greeted by Mines and Banshee and Bunker, and they are going to run away. There is nothing that they can do there, and in the meantime, he is taking huge damage back at his third. So many drone kills. So many drone kills.
Oh my God.
So that was a nice little recap of the teams leading up to this point in the finals, and man, those were some really amazing plays that a lot of these teams had, and that's just a handful. We couldn't show all of them, or we'd be here all day just with a recap video.
Yeah, and we want to get to the live games, as that's what this is all about. But first, we have some information regarding these teams. In addition to those great plays that you just saw, we want to give you a little bit of a heads up of who these teams are and a little bit more detailed information about how they got to where they are now. So we're going to start with Young Money, Cash Money Billionaires. And they are, as we mentioned before, a team of mostly pro players who kind of are doing a league together to kind of hang out and have fun. I think it was originally started by Guitar Cheese and Drunken Boy, is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so, and I don't know if those of you that tuned into the Reddits over this past day, there was a nice orchestrated troll that they did on everybody by creating a fake team that was pretty funny. I think everybody got a kick out of that, but there's really a lot of good teams, players on this team. Henderlisk, I think, is the most obvious and notable one. He's a paid player by Team Complexity, and he's a pretty sick Zerg. We've seen him a lot in MLGs, and we don't have all the races on here. The teams did send them to me, but not in time for me to be able to update these overlays. But YMCMB is predominantly Zerg, and it seems like a lot of the teams that we have here are predominantly X race.
Typically, yeah. There's some teams have some good diversity rather, but there's the teams that we're seeing today typically have one race that they are very good at, and then they have some splash-ins. So YMCMB actually went undefeated through the tournament up to this point. That's 7 matchups that they went into, and they dropped a few games. So they've also consequently placed in the top of all their groups as they were undefeated, and they were the second highest scoring team in the group stages.
Yeah, but next up we've got StarCraft Ascension, which is another pretty awesome team we've seen. I'm not sure who actually formed this team, but I believe StarCraft Ascension is predominantly Protoss. I don't have it on here, but IR a very strong Protoss. But Reborn, we saw some really great games out of Reborn. He plays the Terran pieces,
and Snakehips is pretty good too. I think he's a Zerg player who's also very good. So
a couple players on their teams we haven't seen much out of, like No Regret, I believe, and BioWaste we saw a couple games out of, not a ton so far. So we'll see what players end up getting thrown out today. But Estrella, Ire, we've certainly seen a lot of. Skipper, we've seen a few, and but so far, I mean, almost every game we've seen has been a pretty exciting game.
Absolutely. They've definitely been showing well. And in the group stages, they only dropped a single match, and that was to Young Money, Cash Money Billionaires. They ended up being in the same group in Group 2. But they, despite that loss, were able to finish third in the points scored in the group stages. Their first semifinal game today will be a rematch between YMCMB and .SEA. So there's definitely a little bit of knowledge base going into this. They've gone up each other before, thrown a few punches back and forth. So we'll see if we see a repeat of Young Money, Cash Money Billionaires defeating StarCraft Ascension, or if StarCraft Ascension is able to pull out a win here.
Yep, and next we're going to go into Team Complexity Academy. I mean, this is obviously the Academy team for the real team Complexity, which not to say Complexity Academy is not real, they're very real. And a lot of good players, and we're the top scoring team throughout the pool stages, only dropping 5 games over the course of 6 matches.
And that's quite a feat. I mean, that means that they had undefeated games. That means that, or undefeated matches. That means they may have only dropped 1 game in a match. So very dominant through their group stages. They also had a fairly tough schedule. A lot of these teams we've casted before. They faced StarCraft 2 Strategy, Overdosed Gaming, StarCraft Ascension's B team, and Pulse. So they all ended up being playoff teams too. Those were not teams that played poorly. So they definitely had their work cut out for them.
They played Overdose Gaming in the semifinals, or
The
was it
playoffs.
round of 8,
Yeah.
to make the semis, which was, as we mentioned before, just an amazing series. It just absolutely came down to the wire. So really, either one of those teams could be here, but Team Complexity really pulled it out in the end and secured their spot here. This is going to be a rematch of a group stage match. And the first time they met, it was 5-1 in favor of Complexity, but I do not think that's going to happen today.
No, that's not, because Overdosed Gaming isn't in the semis.
Oh,
That was the that was the Complexity Academy versus Overdose Gaming that went 5-1 the first time, and then when they played recently, it actually got taken to game 9. So Overdose Gaming definitely played a lot more strongly in that second one, but it didn't matter as Complexity Academy was able to pull it through.
sorry, I got confused by the notes here.
No problem.
But
So next is Team Gravity.
let's see.
As
There
we
we
get
go.
that overlay.
Right one. There we go.
All right, there it is. So Team Gravity is, as you can see, one of the bigger teams for the rosters that we have. So we'll see if that avails them or not. Definitely more players to pull from.
Yeah, they were the 4th highest scoring team in the pool stages, so they weren't the highest, but they were up there. They definitely hung in a lot of cases. And they dropped a single match to EXG in the first group stage, which I think is the only match they dropped throughout the entirety. They made semis after Pulse forfeited, as we mentioned, to make it into the semis, which was unfortunate. But alas, it is what it is, and here they are. They
That's
definitely
right.
deserve the position they're in.
Yeah, they fought their way through. So we will be seeing Complexities Academy versus Team Grav after the semifinal between YMCMB and .SCA.
Yep, and I think we've got some predictions here. So what do you think was going to be happening today, Mr. Gallegation, in YMCMB versus .SCA? What are your predictions?
My predictions are that, first, I think that Young Money Cash Money Billionaires is going to take the match over StarCraft Ascension. Not to say that both teams aren't amazing. It's just going to be a rematch, and we saw YMCMB outperform StarCraft Ascension in that first match. And to me, it just seems like the YMCMB roster seems stronger. And I mean, you're going to get that when you've got a lot of pro players on your team.
Right. I think that YMCMB is going to come out on top. This is a rematch from a pool stage 1 match where YMCMB won 5-3. Both strong teams, but with the likes of Henderlisk, I think they're going to be pulling it out today.
Yeah, so we will have to see what ends up happening. Definitely no disrespect to StarCraft Ascension. They are a very powerful team and could very well take this match. So we will see what's going to happen.
Anything could happen, but we got to pick somebody.
You got to pick. You got to make a decision. And, maybe we'll have Artosis cursing going on, channeling a little bit of that.
So Complexity versus Team Gravity, what do you think, Allegation?
Complexity versus Team Gravity. I think that Complexity Academy is going to win that game. Complexity Academy is the highest performing team in the StarCraft 2 Community Team League. They recently acquired Kavika Akita, who came from StarCraft 2 Strategy. They also acquired a player named Death End, and they're only going to make the team stronger. We saw both those players come out for them in the last match that we cast from them, and both players were able to take games off their opponent. So definitely a good acquisition there.
Yeah, I definitely think Complexity is going to edge out Gravity today. Like I said before, I think Complexity is a bit stronger team. Not to knock Gravity, obviously, because they've had some great matches. Gravity definitely had what should have been a cakewalk through Pool Stage 2, but dropped 10 games, losing 1 match. So that is definitely, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, like you said, in any match, anything could happen. But I definitely think, based on the showing that they had, which was pretty good, but not quite as good as Complexities.
That is correct. So that would put our predictions for the final to be Complexity Academy versus Young Money Cash Money Billionaires. So shall we talk about that, or should we jump into this first game here?
Why don't we leave that until we see what
Yeah,
happens?
let's not get ahead of ourselves.